Hi, I'm Jerry Hyde, Youth Services Specialist at the Ames Public Library. Welcome to Well Read, a program about a little bit of this and a little bit of that at your Ames Public Library. December is the month of giving. No matter what holiday it is that you want to give, you can give presents, and a present that comes to mind that's worth giving for us here at the library, of course, would be books. So that's what our program, Well Read, is all about today. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. Board books, picture books, juvenile fiction and nonfiction, and young adult books. So stay on and watch some of our favorite gift books to give away. The person I've invited today to share with some of her thoughts as far as good gift books are is Danielle. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you.
And as you would know, if coming back and visiting here in the library, you know that Danielle works here in the youth department, and she is a very prolific reader. And so she is my expert in the whole department, because she can she does read all ages. And one of those ages that you like to read right now happens to do with a little bit of personal things too, right?
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about all that?
Definitely. I'm really into board books right now because I have a 9-month-old at home. Made me really happy yesterday, just a little bit of mama bragging. He climbed into my lap and brought a book for the first time.
How wonderful. And the experience that we want all of our mothers and fathers and grandparents to have. And we do that by giving a gift of a book.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a special holiday either.
No.
It can be any time. So I just happen to have a little sack of gifts here. So let's see what kind of ones that you've chosen out of our bag here. So these are our board books. And now board books are books that have hard pages, so our little ones can turn the pages.
Yep, and really get in there and use them. And the first 4 you grabbed there have something in common.
All right.
They all have something like that you can either flip or feel or touch or move. And that's why I took those. All of those, there's some fantastic ones that move. My personal favorite there is the one on top, Dig In.
All right.
It's about some little mice who are building things, and you can help them move their wheels, and in the end they end up building a pizza, which is really fun.
And that's their construction. And I had a lot of fun with this one, playing with it too, as you can see the colors move. But my favorite was this one, where you can push the cheese in this manner, and then this little guy pushes. He's putting
green
things
peppers.
onto. Yeah,
I don't know if you want
something
those on your
green.
pizza, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But wonderful things and holding those skills will really help your child too. Being
fine
able
motor and
yep. And this one, of course, is about a wonderful rhyme.
Yep, those nursery rhymes. If you see them on the shelf, this one's a terrific one, 1, 2, Buckle My Shoe, that has done really well, and our baby talk expert, Anastasia, had told me that the babies just go crazy for this one. But I would recommend anyone who if you see a nursery rhyme board book, and take a quick look to make sure the pictures are what you're looking for, but definitely pick it up.
And let's talk a little bit about the pictures too. These happen to be our favorite titles, but as long as we have some crisp pictures, this one's, like you said, a touch and feel one, so they have some tactile, since babies and toddlers are learning their world through that. Those are wonderful things to get, and the pictures of the dogs and expressions are just wonderful. I love
so
the
fun.
dog.
Yeah, I want that Yorkie.
So yeah, you want that puppy. And then this one is talking about feelings, and that's always important to help develop and identify those feelings.
What
that
they feel like.
Yeah.
And this one has great flaps as well that are really big, so that babies.
Let me show what that means. The flaps, and just so we have a question. Baby wants milk and crackers. How does baby feel?
And baby feels hungry.
And then we have lots of different. Baby gets a tummy tickle. How does baby feel? Oops.
Oh.
And see, I need to have more
More
fine motor
nails
skills.
there. Happy.
So we see the baby, the expression, we see the words.
Some of them you can do, like at that point you can do a tummy tickle on the baby. That would be fun.
Now, we have a couple other ones here. Let's do our little Twinkle Twinkle.
And so that one I grabbed because I really like the teddy bears, because a lot of kids might have a teddy bear. And also it's another example of some good photographs, and then also nursery rhyme. That you can sing this one to your child.
Which is very important, singing and singing the book as well as reading the book. What I like about this one too is it has the original song or poem. It was called The Star, and I didn't know this until, so even in a board book we learn lots of things. So The Star was written by Jane and Ann Taylor in 1806, so that's been around a little while. And now, tell me why you like this one.
Because I like to roar, and I think it's fun to roar with kids. So if you have little dinosaur fans, and it's also great for opposites, and it's the opposites that aren't always used, so it's going to help their vocab. But even if you don't read these to the child you're reading, and even if you just talk about the pictures, there's some great pictures in this one.
Wonderful illustrations. And so we have some more. That's just for our little infants and toddlers. So shall we grow a little bit longer?
Stretch a little.
Let's stretch a little bit with a picture book. And that's where the picture is driving the story with the words. Sometimes there's lots of words. Sometimes there's some narrative.
There might not even be any words.
And there might not even be. And in fact, this one
has very few words.
Yes.
But
and why did you pick this one?
Well, not only do I think it's my favorite picture book I've seen so far this year, I've got my fingers crossed for the Caldecott, we'll see. But it's about snow. And today as we're filming, we just had our first substantial amount of snow. I'd say we got maybe half an inch out there. But
so this is a little story about a boy waiting for that big snow, and I think we all were feeling that way yesterday, waiting for the snow to come in. And even if we don't have snow in your area, you know, maybe your grandchildren or nieces and nephews in another part of the world don't experience snow. It is a really wonderful way of experiencing that,
sharing
snow,
that. This is what's going on where we live, or
So, Big Snow by Jonathan Bean.
It's a fantastic one.
Now we've got another one that I know is a favorite of yours.
It is, The Jolly Postman, or Other People's Letters. Now, some of you guys might even remember this from your own childhood.
It's been around for a while, but
I remember checking it out from the library. But if you open it up, you can see there is a letter for Mr. and Mrs. Bear at the Three Bears Cottage, and it's actually a letter. If you turn the page, you can pull out letters here. And it's that particular one is a letter to the Three Bears from Goldilocks, and Goldilocks is inviting the baby bear to her birthday party.
And also apologizing for breaking into their house.
I think that's nice. But this is just a great, great story. I would say this is maybe even for a little bit older, fifth graders, 5, 6-year-olds.
I think a fifth grader might
definitely
enjoy
think
it. You know, it would teach them how to do
letters.
Yep.
So this is just a really fun one, and this is a great one because if you buy them for them as a gift instead of checking them out for the library, you're always guaranteed to have all the pieces.
Well, hopefully we keep all the pieces in here
too. Right now. I just remember.
Yes.
I was little.
Sometimes the letters do disappear, and then we try and get another one. But it's all about the different fairy tales.
It is. It's the fairy tales and just getting to read the letters. And some of them have, there's the witch from Hansel and Gretel, and she has a book of like potion ingredients type thing. So
what is it, like a sales catalog or something that comes to her? And but now I also have a couple construction ones here, or a construction one that the construction kitties. We had mice before, and I see
now
a
we
theme
have cats.
here.
I just like to grab construction books because I think that, especially there's that age, the 2, 3, 4-year-olds really like construction.
And this time they are actually doing road construction. So
they're digging the dirt and they're dumping.
And again, just kind of talking about the illustrations when you're looking for a good book. The words are important, but these crisp little cartoon-like characters where they definitely can see that this is a tractor, a bulldozer,
Yep.
and a digger because of the cartoon black lines and stuff. You know, crisp, clear pictures, few words, and in this case, they're different colors, which is very important. The different types of fonts are important as well. So, in addition to the wonderful topic that will get a child in many, many ways. Now tell me about this one.
Well, this is Tuesday, and it's by Neil Gaiman, who is a rather prolific author who writes juvenile, adult, picture books now. And this is about a little panda, and he's going through his day.
I love his costume.
Goggles.
His
and
goggles.
What's really fun are the illustrations. There's lots to look at. But the other thing is that he always gets asked, "Are you going to sneeze?" And he goes, no, said Chew. And it's really fun to do that. I know one of our other librarians has a daughter who loves to do this book, and she goes, no, all the time. So books that invite participation are so fun to give and to share with kids.
I'll let you, audience members, to read this to see if he ever does sneeze in the book. So if we get that complete. And this one I found particularly interesting as well. Inside, Outside.
This is just a great one. It's one of the ones we talked about not having any words, but it's about a boy and his dog, and they are going through the year. And this is what it's like on the inside. And it's probably winter time. They've got, their winter stuff by the door, and you can see the snowmen. And then when you turn the page, there's a cutout in the page,
right
so
here.
you can kind of see the fun. And then they're outside building some snowmen.
So a wonderful way to learn that concept of inside, outside, but also, like you said, it goes through the year. So lots of different seasons.
There we've got some
4
puddles and
seasons,
rain. And
what will you do and inside and outside, and there's the little mice that you can follow through. It kind of reminisced with me with like Goodnight Moon, only no words, because you're looking for maybe it's
looking
the little
for the
mice
characters
that
and
yeah. So it's a fun book, and what's important with a wordless book is that you can write your own story.
Yep, and ask your child, well, what do you think's going on? And they'll have a story.
Yes.
They will have.
Definitely will have a story. And they might have a different story each time, which, again, not that every book has to teach us something, but that's very good for their narrative and the comprehensions to be able to tell that story and develop the story on their own. So they could even, I could see this going for like a variety of ages, because that older child that can write,
Writing
they
what
could write
they
a
go
story
along.
from it
Yeah.
and using their imagination. And it was funny that you said that he was a boy, and now, see, I thought maybe he could be a girl.
Oh,
Or
I think
she could be a girl.
I think she or he is probably very unisex.
Yeah, so I think it's a very really neat little story that would fit for anyone in any age.
And that's that's what's so great about picture books, is that they are for any age.
Yes, even our age.
Yeah,
My age.
I still love them.
And this one, anything by Mo Willems. I know
Is
you've chosen this one,
fantastic.
but the Piggy and the Elephant series.
Yeah, I chose this one just if you have a reader who's maybe wants to read him or herself all the time. We've got a great selection of ETRs.
Which is what we call our easy to read or
so
beginner
when
readers.
kids are just starting to learn. So this one, anything in the Piggy and Elephant series. So poor Piggy is being told that he will never fly in this book, and it's kind of a great lesson. There doesn't have to be a lesson. There definitely isn't a lesson in every Elephant and Piggy, but Piggy is just gonna keep, no matter what, Piggy is gonna keep on trucking. He's gonna fly.
It's nice to have a dream, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So this is a great series for kids who are just starting to read.
Now, I'm not going to show the last page or pages where he's going to, because he does actually fly,
yeah.
But how he flies, you'll have to find out. Today, I Will Fly by Mo Willems. And like you said, he also writes a lot of picture books as
Yep,
well.
the pigeon books and just
so he's a
random
very
other ones.
prolific author that has won an award-winning author. And I know we've always talked about him being kind of the Theodore Geisel or Dr. Seuss of today's world, because these
Definitely.
conversation bubbles are unique to his style.
Yeah,
and
very simple, but very, very interesting and fun.
Yep. So anything by Mo Willems. Wow,
Definitely.
we have 2 packages empty. Let's see
Wow.
what else I have in this package. Well, I think we're going to go up to some fiction books.
Yeah, these are also for early readers. We've got our next chapter books. So we've got Elray Jakes is a rock star, and Elvin Ho, allergic to girls' school and other scary things. So these are both about boys, but I think girls would love to read about these 2 guys anyway, especially Elvin Ho. But they're about some boys who mean really, really well, but they might get into a little bit of trouble every once in a while. And they're very funny, and but they do touch on some deeper things. So kids who are looking for funny books, and you can kind of maybe sneak in some deeper things, but
very there's at this age for chapter the beginner chapter books and the more in-depth, finding a series or finding a person, a character that they like. You find that a lot in both male and female characters. Let's see what else I have in here. Oh, this is a different one too.
Yeah, so this is actually jumping up to maybe 6th grade and up.
Okay, so all right.
So, but this is also a series that is super popular right now, The Strange Case of Origami Yoda by Tom Engelberger. And speaking of funny, this book was having me laugh out loud. But it's about a boy who makes an origami Yoda. And the story is told by his classmates because they're trying to figure out, well, is it actually Yoda? Because he gives some really good advice. He gives advice about girl trouble and boy trouble and, teachers and schoolwork. Or is it just the kid with the puppet on his finger? And it's kind of ambiguous as you go through. And it's the first, and I think he's up to 4 or 5 books now.
So when I look in, there's lots of different types of, it kind of reminds me of like a Diary of Wimpy.
Definitely, if you have a fan of those.
This would be a good one to recommend. Let's see, I know I have some nonfiction in here, so but I also have a couple graphic novels.
Oh,
so,
definitely.
And tell me what a graphic novel, or tell our audience what a graphic novel is.
A graphic novel is where the pictures are really telling the story. There's often text, and the text is there, but it's really about the pictures. And you might think of it almost as more of a comic book, but graphic novels are usually a little bit longer. Not that there's anything wrong with reading a comic book if that's what the child is wanting. If you want to go buy 10 comic books for a gift, I totally support that. But they're a little bit longer and sometimes have a little bit more serious topics sometimes. For example, Baby Mouse is a series, and it's about Baby Mouse. And she has She's very, very good imagination.
Quite the character.
Yes. So she is always going through, and what is happening to her is usually she gets herself into some trouble, but she gets herself out too.
Well, and what I liked about, the identification of when she goes into her little dream world is always in the pink. Yep. And then, then when the real world happens,
it's in the black and white.
Black and the white. And but very popular series for both boys and girls, lower elementary and
beyond even.
And beyond. I really enjoyed it as well. She's kind of a funny little funny little character, and she has some of those issues with friends, and
so it's very relatable that kids are having. And
so tell me about Amulet.
Well, Amulet is about a brother and a sister who move to a new town, and they find that their crazy, I believe it's their great-grandfather, had explored a world, a different world than ours, and they end up there. get captured by this huge, well, their mother gets captured by this huge evil being. It's like an octopus. It kind of scared me a little bit. You can see him through that door.
Yeah.
And so they go after. And it turns out that they're kind of it's kind of like a Harry Potter type, where they're the chosen ones to figure it out.
And again, it's done by the pictures and those breakout, graphic spaces, and many readers. There are lots of readers that enjoy that type of reading, that type of reading versus the words on the page. So it's not like they're not reading high level. It's just reading in a different way.
This one is pretty high level, definitely. Yeah.
And I love Baby Mouse.
I do too.
Yeah, almost as much as Elephant and Piggy.
Baby Mouse is fantastic.
So I have in the rest of my sack here, or my gift sack, I have some nonfiction books, and let's go ahead and the child labor reform movement is an interactive history adventure. Right. So tell me about this one.
So if you guys remember the Choose Your Own Adventure books, so this is a Choose Your Own Adventure, but it's nonfiction. So for example, this one is child labor reform. So it's all about in where you would go, and you have a situation. For example, the one I followed through was I was an Italian immigrant girl, and I had to choose a factory to work in, and all sorts of things. And so I went through, and one time, like, my arm got pulled into the thing. So it teaches. It's very, very historically accurate, and you learn a lot, but you're kind of in control, and you have all these different choices to make that sometimes could say whether you live or you die.
And it really creates some of the realistic things that did happen.
Right.
But it gives you the option to have it good.
Yes.
Or have it, a more challenging situation.
So you can go back and you can say, oh, that didn't work out. I'm going to make the other decision. And I think that gives kids a lot of agency.
Yeah.
But this is actually a series as well.
Yes.
So if you have a kid who's interested in, the Civil War, or you're interested in the Civil War and would like to share that with a child on your gift list, this might be a great way to get them more interested by showing them that people lived back then just as we live today, children.
And that children were existing. Yeah, it says back here, the Civil Rights, Civil War, Dust Bowl, Ellis Island, Great Depression, the Harlem Renaissance, World War I and II, the Titanic, Salem witch trials, orphan trains, the Oregon Trail. Yeah, a very good, and like you said, it gives them a lot of power to turn the page, or turn to the page that will help the child make the right decision, or he signs the paper and then you find out that the person was lying, and then you're off. But they all end at the same ending, and they begin at the same beginning.
But there are 3 different paths you can choose.
So, and it says that. So, very interesting, especially for like a struggling reader that is really wanting to, that is interested in history. That too. So, and speaking of history, we have David Macaulay, kind of simplifying his bigger juvenile nonfiction books into an easy to read, or that beginner reader, which is fun.
Yeah, anything by David Macaulay I love to look through, and he's very into how things worked and how people built things and people lived. So what always interested me in this series is, well, how did people go to the bathroom? And he always shows that.
I was going to mention that one too, because there's a picture. This one guy stops, he's a guard, and he stops to go to the restroom. Well, they didn't call it a restroom, but before, and then it talks about how the sewer system, it was just a big
how everything works.
Yeah, and so it's very cool for kids.
Yeah, just to see.
They like to see that type of stuff. So, and then I have this one that I feel is very interesting for our girls and boys.
Yeah, I think boys. This is a My Little Ponies Friendship is Magic book. And I grabbed it because one of the best things to do is find out what the child is interested in and give them that as a gift. So if you have a young friend or nephew or niece who's really into My Little Ponies, they might be really excited to get a book about the world of My Little Ponies and Equestria, I believe, the elements of harmony. And so this is actually kind of a fancy looking book.
Yeah, it is a very fancy
Nice
book. But that's true of any type of book. You know, if they're interested in Pokemon, you know, those identifying the characters and those type of books are very important. They don't sit and read the whole book, but they can look through it. It's kind of like a catalog. It used to be in my world. So the last nonfiction one we have is about Cowboy Up.
Yeah, so Ride the Navajo Rodeo. And this one is awesome just for many reasons, actually. There's great photographs of a rodeo, and this is a Navajo rodeo. So the people competing are Navajo Native Americans. And it's just very interesting to see how it works. And then it also has some great poetry. And then on one side, it'll have poetry, and then it'll also have some nonfiction. So tell about the events or what's going on or how kids might prepare for the rodeo. And I know why you chose this.
I chose that this picture illustration is a little boy, and it's about children that are
competing.
In the reading, competing in
As
the rodeo.
you can see, this little guy is riding a sheep, and
Versus the big bulls.
I wasn't aware that kids ever rode sheep, and I guess they do.
Yeah, and this illustration is just fabulous. So
he is going to hold on to that.
Yes. Our last sack, I'll let you go ahead and take a look, and they're all about our older
some
teens
young adults. So many teens love to read these days, and this first one I picked out is, I seem to be really into series today, but I think that's just something that kids love. Is they love to start reading about one character and learn more and more about that character and their world. And, you know, I don't think that changes when we get to adulthood. I read tons of series.
There's that security of knowing that character and becoming friends with them and embracing them and living their lives through the story.
Definitely. So that's another suggestion is figure out what series the child is into and get them the newest one, or series or author. Some people are really into different authors. But this one is in the Ranger's Apprentice series. It's The Ruins of Gore Lon. It's the first book. And John Flanagan. And he is up to, I think, 11 books in this series. We just got the newest one 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so this is a great one for kids who maybe like fantasy, Lord of the Rings type thing. It's about a world where there are rangers and the main character is kind of a spy slash soldier slash, police officer, and he's a ranger. So it's about him learning to be one of those. So let me put that there. And then...
See, we got a couple, they're all 3 different ones, aren't they?
Yeah,
This is a good female character.
Yep, Sarah Dessen is a fantastic author for people who want teenage romance with a lot more thought.
Okay.
So this particular one, Along for the Ride, is about a girl named Auden who is spending the summer with her father, and she decides she is going to go back and do all the things she never did in her childhood. For example, play dodgeball, go bowling. So that's how she's spending the summer before her college experience. And of course, there's a boy involved. So there's a little
it can't be a romance without that, right?
Without, a partner. And so to get a little more serious, we have Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wein. I believe I'm not exactly sure.
Sounds good to me.
But this is a Prince honor, so it won one of the more prestigious awards in young adult literature. And this is Codename Verity, and it's about the friendship between 2 girls in World War II. But not only that, it's about spies. It's about torture. So this one might be best for maybe an older teen. So it's about how they're trying to survive in occupied France as British subjects, and one of them is a spy.
So kind of an extreme
Yes,
opposite.
very little romance in this book.
And very realistic type of serious historical fiction.
It's a fantastic book. I definitely recommend it. And then the last one, the last fiction young adult one I pulled is a little more, it still has some serious topics, but it's a little more light. It's Chomp, and it's by Carl Hiaasen. And it's about a boy who is living in the Everglades, and his father got hurt, and so he's going to be working on Derek Badger's television show. And Derek Badger is like, if you think of those nature shows with the guys who are like out wrestling alligators and fighting wild snakes and stuff like that. Well, Derek Badger does all that, but only on TV. He doesn't really have the skills to do that, but he believes his own hype, and he goes missing. Uh-oh. And so the boy has to,
do the things and go and find.
Go and find them. So it's very action packed and
Carl Hiaasen always kind of embeds some humor and
some environmental.
So if you're a Carl Hiaasen fan, this is another one of his great ones.
And I believe he writes for adults as well.
Yes, he does.
So if you like that, that's another thing to do. Maybe read one of these, and it's a good way to share with a teen in your life, share an author, then you guys can talk about that.
And I see you've got the last one that we have is Janis Joplin.
Yep, and so this is another nonfiction, but it's a young adult nonfiction. So for teens, because Janis didn't really live a lily white life.
No.
So definitely maybe for the older kids.
But a very interesting biography of who she was and
her struggles, and just her life, and her friends talk about her and the kind of person she was. And what I just remember when I read this, I had to actually turn on YouTube because I couldn't find my Janis Joplin music at the time, and I had to listen to different Janis Joplin songs as I was reading.
And that would be really a cool thing to do, to listen to it and read
and
together
and
talk about it. And I imagine some of our viewers probably will have lived during that time period, that sharing that historical moments. Together with a grandchild or nieces or nephews or that a child in your life, that's important at all ages. And
definitely.
And like, this is just a sampling, a very small sampling of the wonderful, wonderful books that are out there, that are available in the bookstore or out online, that you can share and purchase, and a gift that keeps on giving all year long, because that child has that book right in their hand, or it's available when they need it or when they want it, and they don't have to wait until the library opens up. But the library experience is that you can come in and see what it looks like and kind of do a preview before you go out and purchase it. So thank you for watching our gift show program for our holiday season. And if you have any questions at all, or any other recommendations that you want to ask Danielle or anyone at the Youth Services desk, please feel free to come on and do so. And again, thank you for watching. Next month, we're going to do the best books of all the books of 2013. So be watching for that upcoming show as well. Thank you for watching.